When you think of the apocalypse, of undead monsters roaming the earth, what do you imagine? Well, human mushroom hybrids, of course. Once humans, now controlled by fungi, creatures spreading death and destruction. Oh, that was not at all what you were picturing? My bad. Hi there, it's Micha. Wanna hear more about this? Then join me once more. Gabby and Winston, both Forestry Service employees, follow their routine of replacing the memory cards in the many observation cameras around the main river deep in the rainforest. Nothing special ever happens, until their new toy, a drone, gets knocked down by something. As you do, you obviously split up, with the woman finding out alone who or what messed with her flying eye, while the guy continues down the river. While Gabby steps into an animal trap, built by a father and son duo living alone deep in the forest, Winston is attacked by mushroom people. The father, so it turns out, came here with his dying wife, so she can live the rest of her days in the place where they had their honeymoon. Their son Stefan, by now a fully grown man, basically never knew anything else than the life in nature. It is subtly suggested that the father did something back home that made him vanish from society, and living in nature didn't further his mental state. He prays to a goddess that is never named, although she provides the movie's title, Gaia, another name for earth and nature.
She lives in the forest.
Who?
God.
Gaia uses fungi spores to mutate and control people, except for the father-son team, as they pray to her and live and eat sustainably. So they get a free pass in form of a mushroom that makes them immune against the mutating properties of the spores. Slowly building an army, the goddess plans to purge the world from technology and, if necessary, from people as well. Can Gabby stop her, or is humanity doomed? You might think now that sounds so weird that must be one hell of a movie. Well, not quite. What could have been something completely different and original, or at least a weird funny trip, ended up being this year's dud. Taking place almost completely in the jungle, you only get to see three things that are supposed to thrill you. The spores that sometimes appear as flying particles and sometimes as cheap CGI tentacles creeping towards the lead actress, which wouldn't even scare a child. Secondly, bodies overgrown with fungi, also mostly done by obvious CGI. And thirdly, the walking mushrooms, that look so ridiculous that you never really see them clearly, just some frames here or there. They constantly reminded me of the singing and dancing mushrooms from Jan Koenen's short film Le Dernier Chaperon Rouge, which translates to The Last Red Riding Hood. A weird masterpiece that I still hope will make its way to HD sometime soon. The producers seem to have noticed that the creatures were not scaring shit, so they sometimes made them walk on their arms and legs but backwards, like in the director's cut of The Exorcist. Something that also didn't crank up the chill factor. Maybe the movie didn't even want to be scary and just transport its message that we need to be more considerate with Earth or nature will have its revenge. To be fair, the message is important, but maybe presented in a proper documentary instead of a half-assed quasi-horror movie. Also, bad timing because, guess what? We are still in the middle of a pandemic, while the Earth is running rampage weather-wise. So yeah, we got the message, loud and clear. Due to the message, the producers took themselves and the film way too serious, which would be fine if they tried to be an honest horror flick, which they totally botched. The effects would still have allowed for a proper satire, but the sober style didn't allow for a single bit of fun. They also tried to bring religion into the mix, but what was likely meant to be critique ended up devaluing the message, as Gaia apparently also demanded the sacrifice of an innocent, which made her appear unnecessarily cruel when she was supposed to be fed up by humans, but still just. Another sign of how serious the makers took themselves could be witnessed by the film's format changing. Starting in 16:9 format, the picture jumped to almost 4:3, the old TV standard, showing that we did a jump to a less technological area, to a plot voided of modern achievements. And for the end scene, which took place in the city, the picture opened up again. This subtle change was likely lost on most of the audience, as it was drowned in sub-mediocrity. It was at least interesting to see that even the South African cinema abides by the usual horror film stereotypes, like having the black guy being the first to die. Sorry, not die, but be overgrown by mushrooms. Talking of clichés, do you know the one where a person experiences something weird and then wakes up? And sometimes they wake up a second time? I guess the director was so impressed with that trope that he used it like 20 times in this movie. No joke. It was used to the point that you sometimes weren't even sure anymore which part was supposed to be the dream, but not in a good way. Even in places where it would have made sense to create a dreamlike confusion. Just at random. You may now think that I didn't like the movie at all, and you would be right. I should have noticed the red flag of Freddy, one of the festival's organizers, heavily promoting this movie. They usually only do that if it is a dud or one of their favorites, which often means the same. Just a pity that this movie was the closing night feature, which usually should at least be a solid movie, to send us home on a higher note. Looking forward to the next festival session. All things considered, this movie was a waste of time, earning it a fair 2 out of 10 points, as just 1 point would have been too harsh. There is definitely worse fare out there. Have you also seen this movie, and do you agree? Or did you like it? Let me know in the comments. That's it. As always, if you enjoyed this video, like it and feel free to share it with your friends. And why not subscribe to my channel so you won't miss any future video. Make sure to also hit the notification bell so you get a heads up whenever a new video is posted. So much for now, see you next time and thanks for watching!